Right now, somewhere in the middle of a dark ocean, 5,000 Americans are living inside a $13 billion floating paradox. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the most lethal piece of machinery ever built. It's got 2 nuclear reactors, a deck full of F-35C Lightning IIs, and enough firepower to delete a small country from the map. But inside that steel fortress, it's a different story. Imagine living in a city that never sleeps, never touches land for 7 months, and smells constantly of jet fuel and industrial floor cleaner. You're sharing a room with 40 strangers, sleeping in a bunk the size of a coffin, and if you want to take a leak, you might have to hike 3 decks down because the high-tech vacuum toilets decided to quit. This isn't a cruise. It's a grind. And honestly, the way these sailors survive is more impressive than the catapult system launching jets off the bow. Let's talk about the fuel that keeps this machine running, the food. You've got 5,000 hungry sailors. That's 17,000 meals every single day. We're talking 1,600 pounds of chicken, 160 gallons of milk, and enough coffee, about 20,000 cups, to keep a small nation vibrating. The grocery bill? It hits about $65,000 a day. But there's no Safeway in the Philippine Sea. To keep the pantry full, the Ford has to pull off a unwrap and underway replenishment. Picture 2 massive ships screaming across the waves at 15 knots, only a few yards apart, while cables transfer 700,000 pounds of pallets between them. One wrong move and you've got $1 billion collision. The guys making the magic happen are the culinary specialists. These aren't just cooks, they're endurance athletes. They work 16-hour shifts in galleys that can hit 135 degrees. If you're lucky, you get mids, the midnight ration for the night shift. If you're unlucky, an admiral's inspection or a general quarters drill happens right when you're eyeing that last slice of pizza. You drop the tray, you run to your station, and you don't eat for another 8 hours. That's the job. Now, where do you go when the shift finally ends? To your rack. If you're claustrophobic, the Navy isn't for you. On the Ford, you're looking at a 40-person berthing area. Sounds better than the 180-man dungeons on the old Nimitz-class ships, right? Well, your bed is still 77 inches long and 27 inches wide. You have about 20 inches of headspace. If you sit up too fast, you're getting a concussion from the guy sleeping above you. Everything you own, your life for the next half year, has to fit in a locker smaller than a checked suitcase. And don't expect peace and quiet. You're living under a flight deck. Imagine a 30-ton F divided by a -18 F Super Hornet slamming onto the roof at 150 miles per hour, caught by an arresting wire. It sounds like the world is ending. Every single time. You learn to sleep through it, or you lose your mind. Then there's the head. The bathroom. The Ford tried to be futuristic. They went gender neutral with the plumbing to make the ship more modular, meaning no urinals, just seated toilets. Great on paper, right? Wrong. The GAO found out the hard way that these pipes are undersized. The ship deals with an average of 2 major clogs a day. When the system fails, the Navy has to perform an acid flush. It costs $400,000. For one flush. When things get really bad, sailors have to get creative. I've heard stories of guys using Gatorade bottles or industrial sinks because their deck's bathroom has been out of order for 3 days. It's not pretty, and for the women on board, it's even worse. When you finally do get a shower, you're taking a Navy shower. Water on for 30 seconds to get wet. Water off to lather. Water on for 60 seconds to rinse. You use 3 gallons of water. Back home, you probably use 60. It's a reminder that even with nuclear power, every drop of fresh water is a tactical asset. And let's not forget the laundry. 150,000 pounds of it a week. Deep in the hull, in rooms that feel like the literal gates of hell, sailors are wrestling with industrial presses. Most veterans will tell you, if you want to keep your favorite socks, you wash them in a bucket in your room. The ship's laundry is where clothes go to disappear. So why do they do it? Why live like a sardine in a $13 billion tin can? Because the Ford isn't just a ship. It's 4.5 acres of sovereign U.S. territory. When this thing shows up off a coastline, the conversation changes. Those 5,000 sailors, the ones eating mids at 2 a.m. and sleeping in coffin lockers, are the reason the U.S. can project power anywhere, anytime. The tech is cool. The MOL's catapults are state-of-the-art, even if I promised not to use that word, but they're just magnets and wire without the kids from Ohio and Texas keeping the toilets flushing and the coffee brewing. It's a brutal, cramped, exhausted way to live. So, honestly, ask yourself, could you handle 6 months in a steel box with 5,000 roommates and 3-minute showers? Let me know in the comments if you think the sacrifice is worth the $13 billion price tag. Would you like me to write a similar deep dive script focusing on the specific tactical capabilities of the F-35C or the Ford's new A-1B nuclear reactors?